patient, right? Like whether I'm going through a hard time, And he said that that's not what human beings are built for. We're not built like that. That we're built to recognize good times and recognize bad times. So the further definition of patient, he said, a scholar said to have patience means that one's common sense and their religious motives are stronger than one's whims and desires. Right? That means your intellect, your common sense, and your deed are stronger than your whims and your desires. That's patience. Right? When you fall into something, you keep your head about you, and your dean is telling you, do this instead of that. And your whims and your desires, they want you to do whatever is there, right? So he said it is natural for people to have an inclination towards their desires, but common sense and the religious motive should limit that inclination. Two forces at war. Sometimes reason and religion win, and sometimes whims and desires prevail. And the battlefield is the heart of man. Sometimes your sense is going to kick in, your dean is going to kick in, and whatever you're going through, you're going to handle it the right way. Sometimes your whims and your desires are going to kick in, your weakness, right? Sometimes you're going to get mad. Sometimes you're going to punch that kid. No. Okay. Sometimes you're going to lay on the horn in traffic because somebody cut you off, right? Sometimes you're going to complain. You're going to get on Facebook and you're going to be like, man. Or you're going to call your friend and you're going to say, man, let me tell you about this. And then you just lay it all out. Sometimes you're going to lose it. Sometimes you're going to have depression. Sometimes you're going to take care of your problem in a way that is haram. Right? And for some people, they may turn to what things? What is a way that someone might handle something where their whims and desires take control of them? Beat their wife. Right. Pornography. Like my mom used to say to us when we were little, she said, "You're going to drive me to drink." Dang. But that's how it was. Sometimes people, when life hits them, they drink. Yeah. They may go do some type of drug. They may solve their problems with women. They may solve their problems with any number of things. Somebody might get a situation at work. They get bullied at work by the boss, and they come home and they bully their wife. I stop for long. Yeah, sometimes that. So sometimes with patience, he says that sometimes you're going to do what's right. Your reasoning and your deed in your religion is going to win over. You're going to say, I know I shouldn't do this, and you're not going to do it. Right? Sometimes your whims and desires are going to win. And he said that the battlefield is the heart of man. This is our battlefield. Who's ever faced that? Who's ever had that battle within yourself that you had to fight against your deed? I mean, you fight against your whims and your desires, and sometimes it's like, yeah. Yeah, I want to check off. Whoa. Like I be sitting there, I'm like, should I watch Pornhub or not? Okay, this gets great. All right. This is being honest. The bedside, these things happen. I'm being honest. All right, so just to sum up, it says that there is a constant battle in our hearts between our reason and religion versus our whims and our desires. So understand it's a constant battle. If sometimes if you're going through this battle, you need to understand that it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. Sometimes you will be in a situation where you're stronger, and sometimes you'll be in a situation where you're weaker. But you have to understand it is a constant battle. You can't, again, as Muslims, we don't think that we're ever going to become perfect. We're never going to become perfect, right? The battle may change as we get on, right? maybe you're struggling, like you said, against that habit. Maybe you'll break that habit, but
No, that is bad
but
as
it
some
may
say.
be, but maybe it'll be a different battle later on. But it's always going to be going. So he also said patience has many other names according to the situation. So he said if patience consists of restraining oneself from sexual desire, it's called honor. If it consists in controlling one's stomach, we call it self-control. If it consists in keeping quiet about that which is not fit to disclose, it's called discretion. Right? You find out some information and it's not cool to share it. That's called discretion. Huh? When you're
Talk
keeping
about
quiet
gossiping.
about something that's not fit to disclose.
Pretty much gossiping.
Well, not just gossiping. Maybe you're talking about a habit. It's
Dang!
that is not fit to disclose.
All I know is what I do.
If
Our family.
if it consists of being content with what is sufficient for one's needs, is called abstemiousness. And we don't normally use that, but that means abstaining. It's called being, uh, you know, you're abstaining from the world, right? And you are being content with what you have for your needs. If it consists of controlling the anger, then patience is called forbearance. If it consists of refraining from haste, then it's called gracefulness and steadiness. He said, if it consists of refraining from running away, meaning from the battle, then it's called courage. If it consists of refraining from taking revenge, then it's called forgiveness. If it is from refraining from being stingy, it's called generosity. If it's from refraining from being lazy and helpless, then it's called dynamism and initiative, right? You're having initiative, you're having ambition, so that you're not being lazy and not doing nothing. You're doing something about it, and that's a type of patience. And he said, if it consists of refraining from blaming and accusing other people, then it's called chivalry or maru'a, literally manliness, because it is a manly quality to not blame others, right, for your problem. Manliness is owning your stuff, right? What they say now, standing on business. I'm standing on what or we would say taking care of business, you know, TCOB. That you're standing on what you're doing and you're taking care of those things and you're not blaming other people. Yeah, they may have a factor, but you're like, but I'm in the situation I'm in and I got to take care of it. This is manliness and this is a part of patience. So patience can have all these other things. And it's not just, like we said, uh, perseverance. It is that. It is being tolerant, but it's so much else that we have in our life. So again, so patience is known by many names. All of them involve restraining oneself, tongue, and limbs for the sake of Allah. That's the thing that they have in common. Patience is always going to be about restraining yourself, your own soul, restraining your tongue, restraining your limbs. That's what patience is. Right? It comes from the root word of patient means restraint. So again, if you're on a battlefield and you keep using, maybe you're scared to death and you want to run, but you hold your ground. Even though you're scared, you might be shaking in your boots, but you got to handle this. This is part of patience. So, brother, you were a boxer, right? Were you ever scared when you got in the ring? Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, I heard. But you stood through it, and after that, the nervousness went away, and you took them out. Yeah. So this is, again, we're always going to be restraining ourselves from something. That's patience. The opposite of patience is when we let it all go.
Oh yeah,
You're afraid and you run away. You you know you're angry and you just let everybody know that you're angry. All right, so can you obtain patience? So this is a question. Can you gain patience or do you have to be born with it?
you can gain it.
You can gain it. Who says you can become patient?
I know from experience. Yeah.
Who thinks that either you're patient or you're not? Like it's born like you're not a patient person.
I think
Anybody can get patient. I was impatient when I was a kid. Then prison taught me to be patient.
You think it's between the two? A little of both. A little of both?
I would say like would you say like when you notice like a lot of reboots, for example, like and you have ones that genuinely actually you see them like embrace Islam in their heart, I think they will become more patient, wouldn't they? You can become patient. You know, you might
can become patient.
You get a lot of people that they live the lifestyle where they weren't patient before and then they started.
So do you think the person?
Yeah, exactly.
Because some people say like, well, that's just my personality. Do you think that those people?
But you could change your personality.
For constant, a bit of both is true. Like it's like you do get some people that's just how they naturally are. But I think some people they can take steps to become more patient. You know, one of those, in my opinion, is embracing the deen. Like if you actually genuinely in your heart you embrace Islam, like not just exterior but in the interior, you're going to become more patient. It's just going to happen.
I know for a fact you can't change because, like, I used to be, for instance, 10 years ago, the way I think, the way everything, the way I feel, I used to be dominant. I didn't want to hear nothing you said. I only cared about self desires. Like, I worked on myself so much with, like, my personality. Not talking as much, not like a lot. Like I know I say some crazy off the wall stuff, but like
But you know, but you know
I've
how where you go.
yes, I came a long ways, and I know it's possible.
So what do you guys think that Imam Ibn Qayyim will say? What do you think he said? Do you think that you can or no?
I think he's would be of the opinion that you can develop
That you can.
it. Okay.
Yeah,
And I know from experience that if you recognize that you are impatient about something, then you can work on it over time. If you can
Right.
recognize it at those times and have no control, like say you're a patient person. Some people count to 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Some people move. Some people just cuss under their breath. But they
Well,
develop,
it's a type of patience.
they develop techniques to deal with their impatience, and by doing so,
Right.
they've learned to become
Because
more
yeah,
patient.
they're coping with their personality may be
Yeah,
naturally impatient,
yeah.
but they do things to kind of make themselves more.
and then you gotta change your personality
And
over
like-
time.
And life itself teach you that impatience is a deterrent. Experience will teach you that. Now I got angry and I hit her. Now I got to go to jail. All that kind of
You gotta
stuff.
go to jail.
Yeah. I said all this like, I should have just left.
I lost my job.
Yeah, all that.
Oh, yeah, Allah will send those type of things in you to teach
Yeah.
all kind of lessons, but how many people don't listen?
All that. Very few. It's a cultivated thing. I think you learn patience more as you age.
Yes,
But
some people don't.
some people don't age.
Some people they still follow their desire.
I'm talking about. Yeah.
And older,
Yeah.
and it's kind of all right. So let's see what he says.
Story, me.
So he says, if a person does not naturally possess the characteristic of patience, because some people don't, they don't naturally possess it. It's not in their nature. He can attain this characteristic by acting as if he does possess it, until it eventually becomes second nature. So if you are not patient, you can, what we say, fake it till you make it. You pretend to be patient. You may not be patient,
You might need some.
right?
Yeah.
You might be a person that's like,
Thank you.
you know, I'm pretending to be patient. Then maybe you, when no one's around, you grab that pillow and you scream into the pillow or you punch the pillow. So if you don't naturally possess patience, he said, act as if you do.
Yeah.
Like I said, make it till you make it. Till it becomes
Who
part of
you
your
are.
character. Pretend that you are. People will be like, "Man, he's so patient." You're like, "You don't know. I got holes all in my wall from punching." And I say
There's a stereotype about white boys that they punch walls, they punch holes in walls. No,
they just work for it.
it's just it's a stereotype.
But,
I don't understand.
but brother, one technique we forgot to mention about dealing with impatience is those two recounts.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, two recounts really,
Kind of calm you down.
yeah, kind of bring you back.
Voodoo itself is supposed to calm you down.
The water is still, put some water on you, you calm down.
So he says, this is what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has told us in the hadith. Whoever tries to be patient, then Allah will help him to be patient.
Allahu Akbar.
So if you know that you are impatient, right? Your whims and your desires are coming to you. He said, if you try, if you put forth that effort, even though that's not who you are at the moment, then Allah will assist you in developing that quality. He said a person can also strive to control his desire, sexual desire, and lower his gaze until these two become second nature. And Imam Ibn Qayyim, he mentions this a lot, right? The desire for, you know, the opposite sex, and sometimes for the same. But the thing is, but he mentions this, but this shows you that we're talking about 800 years ago. And he's talking about in a Muslim society. He's telling Muslims who have been Muslims for centuries,
Lower the gaze.
control your sexual desire and lower your gaze. So it's not, he's not talking to Muslims that have come to America and we got all this around us, right? We got billboards and clubs and we used to have Cinemax, and Showtime, you know,
This is right in your pocket.
right, or in your pocket.
Right, yeah.
He's talking to Muslims who have been Muslims for generations upon generation and generation. 800 years ago, right?
About age-old problem.
Yeah, age-old problem. So he's saying a person can also strive to control his desires and lower his gaze until these things become second nature. Lower your gaze. Look at it. Don't lower your gaze into your phone, right? and see the wrong things. He says the same applies to all other desirable characteristics such as steadiness, generosity, and courage. If you find that you are a stingy person, then pretend to be generous.
How about you are too overly generous person?
If you're that type of person, because that involves your desires too,
Yeah.
you know, then you should be a person who starts to refrain.
Yeah, some people are
Some people are spendthrifts.
spendthrift. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah.
And he said that the spendthrifts are the brothers of Shaitan,
Terrible thing.
right? Because they're spending.
And that comes from a lack of control.
Yeah.
And being impatient.
So part of our restraint, yeah, like you said, it is part of impatience. Part of restraint is keeping yourself from giving, because a lot of people give too much and they give beyond their means, and then they're broke and now they're in need of the people.
And people circle around them and help them in that particular vice. You know?
So any desirable characteristic, think about yourself. Any desirable characteristic that you don't have, maybe you're not brave, maybe you're not generous, maybe you're not steady,
Or tight.
maybe you're tight.
Or tight. Maybe you're not tight.
You're not tight.
Yeah.
You're a spender. Whatever type of good quality that you recognize that you don't have,
Yeah, right.
fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Try it. do those things, and Allah will make you that way.
Inshallah.
So he said, patience may be of two types. We got a little bit. We got about 10 minutes. Patience may be of two types, either physical or psychological. And both of those types may be either by choice or without choice. So, two types of patience. Either it's going to be physical patience or psychological. What is psychological patience? Mental thing. It's either going to be physical or mental. And both of those types will have two extra types, right? They'll either be physical patience by choice or without choice, or psychological patience by choice or without choice. So he said physical patience by choice, such as doing hard labor willingly. You have to have patience, you're doing hard work, and you want to do it, right? Like when you want to get that extra money, you want to work overtime on the job, right?
I just want extra money. I don't want to work extra.
But that's how you got to get.
I would work overtime on the job.
So you have to be, but you have to pay. But do you? Let's say you do,
Uh-huh.
right? You want the extra money. The only way to get the extra money is to do the overtime.
So I have to be patient.
So this is physical patience by choice. You're choosing to work. You're choosing, whatever you're going through, you've chosen to do it. But then physical patience without choice, such as patiently bearing illness. You got sick, right? How many of you got like really, really sick, right? Like maybe you had COVID or maybe you had the flu really, really bad and you're laid up. You are in that type of situation. You don't have a choice. This is physical, and you have to go through it.
You have to be patient.
Or going through beatings, right? How many of you were a kid? You got beat. You got that belt, that shoe, that you got to spank it. You had to go through that, and you didn't choose to go through that, right?
No, we'll do it again, either.
Or some people get in a gang and they have to get put on the set, and they go through and they get beat up, right? But that's by choice. They're choosing that. But when your mom grab you or your dad grab you, and you didn't choose that, but you got to go through it, right? Physically, or extremes of heat and cold, right? It gets hot here in Texas. We go through that heat. You have to be patient. You have to be patient with the heat. Or
It's just now
it's
getting in the 80s.
extremely cold here now, right? Back home, it would drop -10 is nothing in the winter, right? Here is something.
You don't all right. Have a point with it.
So if it happens here, but when it's that cold, you have to go to. And I used to work in the extreme weather. I used to work in the rain, the snow, the extreme heat, outside for hours, and on foot, right? And so when when it says physical patience without a choice,
That was an illusion, bro.
you're going through and you're like, man, it's cold, and you're shivering. Your nose is running, but it's freezing on your face.
Try to live in the
The
bubble.
wind is
Try
bad.
to live in the bubble.
Oh yeah, no. I don't even want to hear about Buffalo.
Try that for patience.
But this is an example. So physical patience with a choice that you choose to, whatever you're going through, you're choosing to do that. But without a choice, you have to be physically patient. You didn't choose that. Same with psychological. So psychological patience by choice. So you're refraining from things with both which both the Sharia and common sense say are wrong. Right? I'm staying away from this because it's haram. Right? Or I may be staying away from something because it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So some people may stay away from alcohol because it's haram.
Yeah.
Some may stay away from alcohol because they don't want it to affect their liver.
Yeah.
Right?
Or both.
Right? Or both.
Yeah.
But this is psychological patience by choice. You're choosing to stay with it. Right? There are so many people who are not Muslim or Jewish and they don't eat pork. And you ask them why, they said pork isn't healthy. So there are people who make these choices, right? And this is psychological patience by choice. But psychological patience without a choice, patiently bearing an enforced separation from one whom you love. And this again, we hear the examples that Ibn al-Qayyim uses. Again, a Muslim society, the forced separation from someone you love. Maybe it didn't work out.
Jihad feasibility.
Or jihad fi sabilillah.
Go off and have to do jihad.
So maybe a loved one died. Maybe you love the sister, but she don't love you. And you gotta be a forced separation, and you don't have a choice, but you just gotta go through it.
Yeah, you gotta go through it. What
You gotta go through it.
yeah.
When a woman's fed up, it ain't nothing you can do about it.
That's a different thing.
You know from experience, huh?
So I heard that one there. Oh yeah. Yeah, bro.
But think about that. So imagine you're going through something. Maybe you lost your job.
Yeah, that's happening.
You lost your job, and you don't know where, or you lost your house, and you have to go through something psychological that you didn't choose it. You didn't choose. Well, maybe some of the action that you did, you chose to fail that grade, right? Or you thought you did so well, and then that's come, and then you're like, man, you gotta.
Everybody be president, they be hate though.
Yeah.
I feel past the grade, they just didn't accept my answers. The culture was.
So mentally, we deal with some things that are against our will. We didn't choose them, but this is patience. So again, well, we'll recap in a little bit. So patience by choice, he said, is of a higher status than patience without choice. If you're choosing to be patient, that's better
Yeah.
than
If you just
dealing with it, right? And he said, the latter is common to all people. Everybody goes through patience without choice. He said, but the former is not attainable by all. Not everybody can go through something choosing to go through. Not everybody can, lower their gaze. Not everybody can, decide amongst people that are around them to be faithful, right? To not drink. Like how I stay faithful in a room full of hoes.
Don't be in that room.
But a lot of people don't have that patience.
It's simple.
All right, so we're gonna look at this. So patience, and this we're gonna end with this point. So patience is either physical or mental, by choice or without choice. And choosing patience is better.
Alhamdulillah.
Choosing patience is better. And so next time we'll talk about obtaining patience.
I want you to attain it.
Yeah.
But man,
So we're gonna end here.
like everybody do this, like what I was talking to the speaker.
So we're gonna end here. How many of you have learned something about patience? And I learned. I've done this talk before in Saxe, and but it's always good a reminder. So we're gonna end here. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. Any questions before we start? Yeah. All right.
Give us somebody, huh?
Wow.
I knew somebody from here.
Where have you been? Oh, we in that. We in that.
And the
Push in.
and the stream.